presentation will be made available across all of the LA19 community colleges and also on the LARC website. So please, if you have any challenges being recorded, please remove yourself from the meeting now. In addition to that, if you could just clearly articulate your name and your organization when you do speak initially so that we can capture all of that, that would be great as well. Following this presentation, Mariana Hernandez, our Assistant Program Manager, will be sending out some kind of key facts and notes from our conversation today, and some follow-up pieces. I mean, one of the biggest things that we want to get out of this is actually some context and some actionable items so that we can move the needle forward as it pertains to this particular program advisory, which is going to be on digital media and entertainment. We have some actually a gift from the state that I'm going to be able to give to you all today a little bit later in this presentation that they actually offered up. And I think our deans that are on today will be very appreciative of that, our deans and our faculty. If you could also, if you haven't already, it looks like folks are already doing so. They are putting your school that you represent and then also your first and last name into the chat, and even your position if you like, in your email as well. In addition to Mariana Hernandez, our Assistant Program Manager, we also have Jose Pelaya, our Program Manager of Workforce Development. So thank you all so much, and thank you to all our partners that have joined the call today. And we also have Larry Holtz, our VP, over here at LADC as well, that's on the call, and he'll be speaking here shortly. And so the LA19 is leading industry education partnerships to collaboratively strengthen our region's talent and development ecosystem. So really the big picture here, why we connect industry along with academia, in particular, our LA19, there's over 500 or close to 500,000 students across the LA19. Our community colleges are really a nest of great talent, a lot of times untapped talent as it pertains to our industry here. And so what we want to do is really uplift our community college talent. We want to uplift our staff and our faculty that are doing excellent work across the LA19 and preparing our students and our job seekers for a lot of the available opportunities that are here in various sectors. So LADC, we focus on in-demand or high growth sectors in general. And so digital media entertainment is one of many different industry cluster focuses that we have here at LADC as we continue to try to push the economy here in LA County. And so what we'll be going into today is a nice presentation to kind of really highlight supply and demand data. But then in addition to that, we'll have a moderated conversation with several great panelists that are working in the space of digital media and entertainment. And I can't wait to talk to these folks. Many of these individuals are also part of our DME Workforce Industry Council, which we'll send you the link in the chat in a little bit as well, so that those of you that are interested can join that. Many of you are already involved, but we want to continue to encourage folks to get involved in that initiative because that is something that is happening right now. We've already had about 4 different meetings, and the meetings have went excellent. We have 80+ members that are part of that initiative, and it's really a way to start connecting industry once again with community, with CBOs, with education, so that we can really start moving the needle, talking about curriculum, talking about enhancing curriculum, but then really talking about how do we fill our talent pipeline needs here in the region, and really get individuals, not just from community colleges, but from our K through 12, merging into our community colleges. Then for those that need the 4-year degrees, also our 4-year degree students as well. And then most importantly here, the biggest piece is our underserved communities, right? We want to make sure that we are tapping into our underserved communities and giving opportunities to those that don't necessarily have the opportunities that many others have. And so those are the folks that we want to uplift as part of this. And so without further ado, I want to then now move it over to Dr. McKeegan.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Narina McKeegan, Chair, Assistant Vice President of the Los Angeles Regional Consortium. First, I would like to thank the entire LAEDC team for your collaboration and support and putting on these amazing program advisories that are so beneficial for our programs, faculty, and staff. The Los Angeles Regional Consortium, as Jermaine mentioned, consists of the 19 community colleges in the Los Angeles County area. Our mission is to bridge the gap between LA's workforce and employers fueling our cutting-edge economy. Our objective is truly to address the skills gap by increasing availability of well-trained skilled workforce in LA County. And we know this will not only close the supply and demand gap, but it will also increase economic and social mobility for our students and our residents in LA County. LARC is dedicated to offering leadership on career education initiatives within the region with a focus on equity. Through the collaboration with our educators, industry partners, and community, we strive to support all of our students to foster a skilled workforce and adapt to the needs of the regional ecosystem. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank Luke Meyer, who's the director of our Center of Excellence, for his exceptional work with LMI data and truly supporting all of our LA19 colleges with all of our CTE programs. Additionally, I would like to thank the industry partners that have joined today on behalf of LARC. Thank you for your collaboration and your support of our community college programs. With the knowledge and skills that you provide and the information you provide, we can definitely help support our students in their chosen fields. And to our LA19 faculty and staff, our LARC family, thank you. My sincere gratitude for your unwavering commitment to student success and for preparing all of our students and residents for their careers. Your contributions to our community and education system are so invaluable, and I am grateful for all you do. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. McKeegan. I will go ahead and introduce our industry partners before we hear from our data specialists. So first up, we have Nancy Robinson, the Director of Education Programs for the Television Academy Foundation. In this capacity, she oversees the foundation's highly rated year-round student internship program, alumni engagement, and nationwide college outreach.
Hi, everybody. Nice to meet you.
Thank you, Nancy. Next, we have two-time Emmy-winning producer Sasheen Artis and founder and CEO of Plenty of Pie, a curriculum-based talent incubator and media production accelerator that offers leadership development, practical producer skills training, mentorship, and production support to emerging and mid-career creatives of color.
Hi there. Good morning.
Thank you, Sasheen. Next, we have Lamar. Lamar is a veteran creative director and design leader with experiences spanning digital innovation, advertising, TV and film, and a broad array of culture elevating ventures. Prior to his role as managing director of Origin Digital Media, Lamar co-founded Valence Community, an upfront ventures-backed tech professional and investor platform that was acquired by Greenwood Bank in June of 2022.
Hi, everyone.
Thank you, Lamar. Next, we have Kathy Bañuelos, the Senior Vice President of State Government Affairs at Motion Picture Association. With over a decade of experience advocating on behalf of the entertainment industry during a period of significant evolution for producing and distributing creative content, Ms. Bañuelos has amassed a wide breadth of policy expertise and experience working successfully with broad coalitions on complex policy matters. At the MPA, she oversees all state and local government relations, advocacy, and regulatory functions of the association.
Thank you, Mariana. Happy to be here.
Thank you, Kathy. Next, we have Yvette Estrada, the Director of Government Affairs at NBC Universal in Los Angeles. She is responsible for state and local government relations and advocacy of policy issues impacting NBC Universal brands across the country. She works closely with business organizations in executing strategic advocacy on priority issues.
Morning, everyone. Looking forward to the conversation.
Thank you, Yvette. Next, we have Ava Goldson Cruz. She manages creative and production impact at Warner Brothers Discovery. In her role, Ava runs Warner Brothers Discovery Action, a program created by the Social Impact Team in 2016 to provide individuals who haven't traditionally had pathways into the entertainment industry with access to entry-level below-the-line jobs on Warner Brothers Discovery film and television productions. Since the program's launch, the program has placed over 500 candidates on Warner Brothers Discovery productions, including All-American, Blue Beetle, Succession, and Winning Time.
Hi, everyone. Happy to be here.
Thank you, Ava. And last but not least, we have Marco Flores, VP of News and West Coast Regional Lead for KMEX Univision 34 Los Angeles with Univision Communications, Inc. He was the executive producer of the station's Noticias 34, the most watched newscast in the country. Mr. Flores joined Univision in 2000 as a producer, reporter, and backup anchor for KTVW Univision 33 Phoenix.
Buenos días. Looking forward to the conversation.
Thank you, Marco. And with that, I'll go ahead and introduce Diego Saavedra. I'm sorry, before I introduce Diego, I will go ahead and introduce Larry Holt, our VP of Workforce and Economic Development.
Good morning, Mariana, and thank you to all our partners on the call this morning. There was a big AP News story this weekend on the skills gap. And so I was reviewing a Harvard document that was cited in that article, and it talked about it. The title of the article was "The Partnership Imperative" that they did with the American Association of Community Colleges, and their key recommendation was program advisories, just like the one we're having today, if we truly want to move the needle on these workforce challenges faced by the private sector and the lack of opportunity by many of our underserved students in the community college system. So thank you, Mariana, and thank you all for being here today.
Thank you, Larry. And with that, I'll go ahead and introduce Diego Saavedra, a research analyst for LAEDC's Institute for Applied Economics.
Thank you, Mariana. Thank you all for having me here. My name is Diego Saavedra, and I am a research analyst for the Institute for Applied Economics at LAEDC. I will be sharing with you the current demand landscape of the entertainment and digital media industry, anticipated future employment, job postings in the industry, as well as some industrial and occupational demographic information. So here in this slide, we examine the entertainment and digital media industry. We looked at 25 total NAICS industry codes representative of the whole industry. And in the next slide, we further condensed these into 7 major groupings: motion picture and sound recording industries, broadcasting, performing arts, spectator sports, and related industries, advertising, public relations, and related services, other professional and technical services, distribution, and publishing. And those with an asterisk indicate only NAICS industry codes when in digital media. Next slide, please. So here in this slide, we are looking at employment in the industry from 2011 to 2021 in Los Angeles County. There has been a general upward trend in the first 8 years or so, never dipping below the 2011 mark of near 206,000 employees. The industry hit a 10-year peak of about 259,000 employees in 2016. There was a dip in 2020 down to 208,000 employees, but the industry bounced back to 2018 levels the following year to about 232,500 employees in 2021. Next slide, please. Here we're looking at the change in employment within these industries from 2011 to 2021. We see here that motion and sound recording industries remain the largest grouping, holding over 50% of employees through 2021. We also see that the remaining industry groups have remained stable or experienced some small growths between 1% and 2% in this time period. Next slide, please. Here we're looking at the average annual pay in the industry groupings in 2021. Each industry grouping pays a living wage in Los Angeles County, with no grouping paying less than $116,000 per year on average. And looking deeper into the 25 industry and the 25 individual NAICS industries, only 3 have an average annual pay below $100,000. Them being commercial photography, newspaper publishers, and graphic design services. Even then, all of these still have, all of which are higher than the 2021 average salary in Los Angeles County of $66,000 per year. The 3 highest paying industries, sorry, can you go back to the last slide? The 3 highest paying industry groupings are performing arts, spectator sports, and related industries, distribution industries related to digital media, and broadcasting. Next slide, please. Here we're looking at real wage growth from 2011 to 2021. Over the last 10 years, real wages grew at varying rates across the industry groupings, with the largest increase in digital media distribution industries with 59% real wage growth since 2011. Overall, real wages in the entertainment and digital media industries grew 32% from 2011 to 2021. Next slide, please. Here we're looking at forecasted employment from 2021 to 2028. We see that employment is expected to grow 25%, forecasting over 7,000 new jobs per year in entertainment and digital media industries, as well as reaching and eclipsing pre-pandemic levels. Next slide, please. Here we're looking at forecasted employment in the industry groupings. We see here that there is the most anticipated growth in performing arts, spectator sports, and related industries with 43% growth, and motion picture and sound recording industries with 30% growth through 2028. Industries anticipated to grow the least are those operating mostly outside digital mediums. For example, within publishing industries, software publishing companies are expected to have employment grow 16% through 2028, while newspaper and periodical publishing companies are expecting employment to contract 41% and 37% respectively in the same time period. Next slide, please. In this slide, we're looking at two graphs. In the graph on the left, we see that job postings reached a decade high in 2021. Online job postings grew fourfold since 2011, with nearly 37,000 job postings in 2021 compared to about 10,000 in 2011. In the pie chart on the right, we see motion picture and sound recording industries represent the largest industry grouping over this 10-year period, with 28% of total posts. Next slide, please. Here we're looking at job posting trend lines, looking at the industry groupings. Over the last 5 years, distribution industries and professional and technical service industries related to digital media posted for more positions at a higher rate than other industries, climbing into the top 3 industry groupings with the most job posts since 2011, joining motion picture and sound recording industries. Next slide, please. Here we're looking at the top 6 employers in the entertainment and digital media industries in 2022, with them being Disney, NBC, Rice Gorton Pictures, Riot Games, CBS Corporation, and Activision Blizzard. They make up about 31% of all job postings in entertainment and digital media industries in 2022 and span 5 of the 7 industry groupings previously listed. Now moving to industry demographics, here we have age distribution, where we see entertainment and digital media industries are marginally younger than most other industries in Los Angeles County, with about 1.3% more workers younger than 54. And generally, the age distribution is similar to other industries in Los Angeles County, and that's a trend we'll see with the other demographics as well. Next slide, please. Here we're looking at educational attainment. In entertainment and digital media, jobs are slightly more attainable than those in most other industries in Los Angeles County, with 64.8% of workers having some college, an associate's degree or less. That is about 2% more than the other industries in the county. Next slide, please. Here we're looking at the racial and ethnic distribution, with entertainment and digital media industries being marginally more diverse than most other industries in Los Angeles County, with about 1% more persons of color employed. Next slide, please. This is the gender distribution in the entertainment and digital media industries. We see near perfect gender parity with an identical distribution to most other industries in Los Angeles County. And as previously mentioned, the entertainment and digital media demographic distributions closely match those across other industries in LA County. And this is likely due to there being so many workers in the industry that it naturally will reflect most other industries in LA County. Here we take a look at 3 occupations in the industry with over 10,000 jobs in 2021. We see that female workers, Hispanic workers, and Black workers are underrepresented in most of the selected occupations, with the greatest discrepancy being in TV, video, and film camera operators and editors, where 77% of workers are male and 68% are white. In general, these 3 occupations can work on increasing their diversity. We also see that these occupations are accessible to those with some college education and younger people, with over 75% of workers in each occupation having some college experience or a bachelor's degree, and over 50% of workers in each occupation under 40. Next slide. And finally, some of the key takeaways from these slides are that real wages have grown 32% since 2011. All industries pay a living wage in Los Angeles County, with the lowest annual pay still being $16,000 more than the average annual salary in the county. Employment is expected to grow 25% on average across all entertainment and digital media industries through 2028. And industries with stronger digital ties are growing more than those operating outside digital spaces. Next slide. And finally, thank you all for your time, and please feel free to reach out with any questions.
Thank you, Diego. Oh, so I see here, Larry, I'm sorry, this is where your slide was to introduce you for human-centered economic development. If you'd like to say a few words before.
I mean, I could talk more if you'd like, really, I kind of, this is just so important in terms of us building a partnership, and you see the opportunity in LA County and why this is one of our key clusters. And so what we've embraced here at LAEDC is what we call a human-centered approach to economic and workforce development. And that is, we are placing opportunity at the center of all our action. So thanks once again to everyone participating in helping us today. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. And with that, I'll go ahead and introduce Luke Meyer, the Director of the Center of Excellence for Labor Market Research, hosted at Mount San Antonio College.
Thank you, Mariana, and good morning, everybody. Thank you to everyone for joining us, employers, faculty, staff from our LA19, and thank you for LAEDC for putting on this great event. So I'm going to discuss a little bit about what our colleges, our community colleges in LA County have to offer related to digital media and entertainment. And for the purposes of this advisory, we've clustered the programs into 3 different areas. Those training for production equipment technicians. So some of our film production, applied photography, and other programs training camera operators, sound engineering technicians, audio and video technicians, broadcast technicians, and others. Digital art and design, looking at animation, special effects artists, multimedia, computer graphics, etc. And then set design and makeup and costume. So some of these are related to our technical theater programs, and some are sort of entertainment adjacent with our fashion design, and makeup artists. So I will go through some more details about these as we go through. So in terms of our students earning awards, they have doubled since 2011, going from 816 students earning a degree or a certificate in these program areas up to almost 1,750 in the most recent data that we have available. And that is just, again, our 19 community colleges. Next. If you look at the colleges enrolling students in these programs, you can see Santa Monica, Mount SAC, my host college, Pasadena, Long Beach, all enrolling over 5,000 students in the most recent year. Combined, there are over 55,000 students enrolled in these pathways, one of the largest pathways that we offer at the LA community colleges. And by the way, I didn't initially introduce myself for those unaware of the Center of Excellence for Labor Market Research. I know it's a mouthful. We provide labor market data to the community colleges to inform decision-making for creating new programs, pursuing grants, and other purposes. So that's where we are at. We're all throughout the state, and we are hosted here for the Los Angeles County colleges at Mount SAC. So sorry, I just figured I should say that. Go ahead, Mariana. Thanks. All right, so looking at those 55,000 students that I mentioned, just over half are male, and let's see, just under half identify as Hispanic. And as you can see, the age of students skews slightly younger, as Diego was saying, and related to across all industries. So we have a young, diverse pool of talent and students that are ready for the workforce, essentially, through these programs. Next. These are some of the programs more specifically. So you can see I have 3 years of data there, and these are the number of awards issued from 2019-20, 2020-21, and 21-22, and then a 3-year average at the right. So you can see the awards have increased from just over 1,000 and dipped down during the pandemic year back up to over 1,200. Our largest programs are related to television, which is closely related to film production. The next one, training a lot in operating a camera and set design and other things. And then you can see animation there. So our special effects artists and whatnot getting training there. You can see some in fashion, photography, and on down the line. The technical theater would involve a lot of our set and exhibit designers and whatnot. Next slide. The next few slides are student employment outcomes. So how are students faring once they complete our programs? And this first metric is asking students, are you working in a job that's closely related to your field of study, yes or no? And as you can see, just about 2/3 at the most recent year that data is available. This is from a survey that we administer to all exiting career education students. About 1/3 are working in other areas than related to their program. Next. And here are the median annual earnings for students exiting these programs. The most recent year available, students are earning just about $31,500, which probably doesn't seem like a lot to people in this room. And there could be a whole host of reasons for that related to the way this data is collected. And also, this industry is known for a lot of gig work. And when the wages are collected, it's during the second quarter of the fiscal year. Students might not be in a project during that time. So that can explain some of this. Next slide, please. The median change in earnings. So despite the lower earnings, students are still increasing their earnings. The highest here being 30% in 14-15, and just hovering around just over 20% in the most recent years that we have data available. Next. And then the students who attained a living wage. So ideally, we'd like to see this at 100%. But in the most recent year, it's climbed year over year, just under 40%. And for reference, the living wage that's used for this metric is $18.10 per hour, which is the living wage standard for a single adult with no children. But with the rise in inflation, that has risen over the years, but that is what is reflected in this data. Next. All right. I apologize about all the highlights, whatever it does to your eyes, but these are the target occupations that we're looking at. The ones highlighted in yellow pay above that $18.10 per hour at the entry level. The other ones would be photographers, set and exhibit designers, and broadcast technicians. You can see, though, that the wages increase over the spectrum quite a bit for the photographers and set and exhibit designers. So basically, this is the demand data for LA County showing the number of jobs in 2021 on the far left. So that's the size of the occupation, the projected growth over the next 5 years. So on average, 13%. A lot of these, like audio and visual technicians and film and video editors, growing at a very fast rate, over 20%. And then the next column is probably the most important, which is how this is, sorted by the size. But those are the projected annual openings for these jobs. So each one of those annual openings represents an opportunity for our students for employment. Next. All right, now looking at job postings related to not the industries as Diego was presenting, but to the occupations. So those that were listed, just over 9,000 postings over the last year. And you can see the majority there were graphic designers and photographers and the special effects artists and animators. Next. And here are the job titles most frequently sought by employers. You can see the top employers posting job ads there on the right. We got graphic designers, video editors, the audio visual technicians. You can see some motion graphics designers and special effects artists and whatnot there as well. Next. And then looking at all those combined, the advertised wage from those postings, which is now a requirement in California, you see from March 2022 all the way up to I guess February 2023 is what we have here. Rising over just about $10,000 over that time. And, you know, with job postings, it can fluctuate wildly, but over 12 months, that is an increase. And then you can see the postings by city with no surprise. LA leads the way with the most postings, and then on the west side primarily. All right, I believe. Go ahead, Mariana. I think that's it. There's my contact information. So without further ado, I'll turn it back over so we can get into the conversation today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Luke, and also to Diego from IAE here with LADC for this great information. And so if all my panelists could kind of get queued up here, before we go into the panel moderated conversation by myself and also Jose Pelayo, I did want to give our county representative that is on the call about just 30 seconds to 1 minute real quick to just talk really quickly about the guidance or present, I would call it, that I just put into the chat for all of our faculty and dean across the LA19. I'm quite sure that you will love this information. This is recently published guidance from the Department of Education that I actually just received yesterday. It's the March 2023 update. And this is guidance that you can use, guys, to enhance and or update current curriculum and things of that nature. It'll be good to kind of go through it, as I'm sure you all that are already opening it up will probably love the information that's in here. It really gives clear context. And the biggest thing I like is it's coming directly from industry professionals, right? I think yesterday when I was talking to Allison Frenzel from the state, one thing she mentioned is Coldplay's stage designer is one of the authors or the writers of this actual guidance right here. So this is great information and it's coming directly from industry. And this is what they are looking for. This is what's going to transition our youth and our young adults across our community colleges coming out of K-12 institutions. By using this document, this is what's going to guide them into these opportunities. And as you can see, the opportunities are still in abundance, especially here now that the pandemic has ended. So Mia Johnson, if you could just take 1 second before we get into our panel discussion to talk about the guidance that we just received.
Okay, is my sound good?
Yes.
Awesome. So I'm part of something known as the Entertainment Equity Alliance. There are several of you that are also involved in that conversation, which is synonymous with this conversation in a lot of ways. We are really focused on digital media, entertainment, and creative industries and building pathways into those industries. This particular document was informed by over 180 industry professionals who worked with California Department of Education for 2 years to develop a guidance document to map K-16 CTE to occupation. It was designed for articulated pathway and curriculum development to make sure teachers understand what to teach and how to prepare young people for the essential workplace, hard skills, and to make sure that they're ready for apprenticeship or entry-level work upon graduation from high school programs as well as community colleges. This work continues to be implemented through an AME High Road Training Partnership, which was just officially the first, from my understanding, arts, media, and entertainment High Road Training Partnership in the country, most likely. I know there's another one in Hawaii that is a little similar, but this one will specifically focus on building pathways here in California and more primarily in Los Angeles County. Thank you. And my name is Mia Johnson. I'm with LA County Department of Arts and Culture, and I represent the Creative Career Pathways for Youth Initiative. And we have a resource called Creative Careers Online, and I'll drop the link in the chat. Thank you, Jermaine.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So I'm hoping that many of our faculty and dean are on the call today, and those that access this presentation later on are as pleased as I was yesterday to get this guidance from the state. It is literally perfect timing. As Larry Holt mentioned, LADC has identified digital media entertainment as one of our industry cluster focuses over the next several years. And we're going to do everything in our power, along with our partners from the LARC and the community colleges, our university systems and K through 12 districts across our 88 cities, to do everything we can to build equitable talent pipelines into digital media entertainment opportunities. And so without further ado, let's get to the moderated conversation. So Nancy from Television Academy, Sasheen from Plenty of Pie, Lemire from Origin, Kathy from Motion Picture Association, Yvette from NBC, Ava from Warner Brothers, and Marco from Univision. Could you all please come on camera if you could? And I'm going to go ahead and tee up some questions, and I'm going to do the first set of maybe about 3 or 4 questions. And then I'm going to then hand it over to Jose Pelayo for another set. And so right here, guys, the biggest thing, especially for those new to these types of conversations, we want lots of feedback, right? We want lots of questions actually coming from you as faculty and dean across the LA-19 colleges. I'm going to tee up some questions that I think all of our folks here on the call are more than qualified to answer extensively. But that engagement piece is that one that I really want to highlight. And 2 things that I really took away from the data, and which is why we started off with data. Bottom line is digital media entertainment, it's growing and it's paying more than a living wage here in LA County. The living wage in terms of not just salary, but the actual wage is roughly about $22 an hour. So if we are able to get individuals across our county into these occupations, into these opportunities, they are going to be able to make a great living, especially opportunities that aren't just gig work. We know that gig work is a big part of this, and gig work is going to continue. But what if we can start merging more folks into actual career pathways that actually stick, and they can actually have benefits and things of that nature that are attached? That'll be awesome, right? And then the other piece is that Luke mentioned is 16 of the 19 colleges have talent right now. They have programs right now that folks are enrolled in, and they are flourishing and they are graduating, and they just need opportunities. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and start with Nancy, and then we'll move to Sasheen. And I want everyone to kind of just take maybe 30 seconds or a minute to answer this question or elaborate on it if you would like. What are the top emerging trends in digital media and entertainment that the community colleges should know? Nancy?
That's a good question. I think for us, I look at this coming from a perspective as somebody who, supports interns during the summer. And what I'm seeing really is that there is a lack of interest in unscripted television, because I don't think faculty is teaching unscripted television, and there are so many opportunities for jobs in that area. So I feel like that's sort of an untapped gem right there. Really important. We're going to be launching to accept applications for our fall internships on April 27th. We also have a college television summit coming up on April 25th and 26th, which is for college students across the nation. It is a virtual 2-day, we're going to have 3 panels each day, opportunity for students to hear from what's going on in the industry right now, and hearing from different perspectives and different career paths, really hoping to generate interest in different crafts and careers below the line and above the line for students. So Mariana, if it's all right with you, I'd like to send you our press release for that. Actually, you know what? I think I can try. I'm not very tech savvy. I will try to put it in the chat right now. And if not, I will get it to you, Mariana, so that you can share that widely. And also sharing the news when we launch for our our fall internships. So honestly, for me, what I'm seeing right now is students who aren't realizing necessarily that there are so many opportunities in entertainment in some of the career or some of the fields that they're studying now, like marketing, accounting. There are so many different avenues into the industry. It's about thinking outside the box. And I cannot stress enough, unscripted. So I want everyone to please think about that.
Thank you, Nancy. Sasheen.
Hi, coming as a producer, I think it's really important for folks, like Nancy mentioned, accounting. We are looking for production accountants. We're looking for production executives. And there's a pathway to that which if you have the skills to, deal with the numbers and deal with reports and be really detailed and exact, you can find, like Jermaine mentioned, a job that will, be a permanent, studio type job, not a gig job that goes from production to production. So I think that's really, really important. And also know that, particularly for your students, that creative positions are nice and fun and, ooh, you're on the set. But if you are studying, political science to be an attorney, if you are studying, accounting, if you are studying sociology or psychology, those are bona fide skills that we're going to need, we're going to use in a plethora of positions. And it's really important that, yes, the nice and shiny, ooh, I can, code, and ooh, I can do Adobe editing. And editing is fabulous. Don't knock editing. Editing is fabulous. But if you want to be an attorney, I mean, if you look at the top folks on, at the very top, the CEOs, they're not creatives. They're accountants, they're attorneys, they're former agents. So think about those positions and those skills.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sasheen. Lemaire, you have some context on this topic.
Sorry, everyone. My mute wouldn't unmute there. Yeah, working from the Web3 perspective, I think there's three things that I think are really great opportunities for everyone to really look at. One is this notion of prompt engineering, right? We're hearing and seeing a lot of what's happening with AI, but in particular, how to actually artfully orchestrate what you're creating with these platforms, the ChatGPT, Midjourneys, and so forth of the ecosystems that are emerging. In my world, those upfront skills of being able to explore and or to give reportage and or to leverage those tools in artful ways is huge in terms of an opportunity set. And I think just the literacy level around that, it would be great for people, particularly from the community colleges, to really start to warm up to those. The second category is actually around the topic of kind of the production, the content production for social media. And that involves editing, that involves music, that involves using all the tools all at once to bring that together to help promote. And it actually kind of blurs over into advertising, but at least in my last big point, which is community builders for social media. So people who can really rally communities around different endeavors, whether they are for Web3 or they're for an existing brand. That's a really huge combinatorial skill set that I think a lot of the students in the community college ecosystem are really well suited for and ready to go, and probably are highly participating in that medium already. So I think those are my three offerings for things that could be a big focus for the kids going forward.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Lemaire. Kathy, did you want to add here?
Sure. I wanted to underscore Shashin's comments on production accountants and just plug, like, the California Film Commission even launched a pilot program to try to train a new group of production accountants, because there's a shortage. And frankly, it's not something that you would consider sexy or exotic or creative or even something you would associate with entertainment. But they're absolutely critical positions that we need to actually function as individual productions. So to the extent that the community colleges can be leaning in and maybe starting to socialize holistically the diversity of careers here, as an attorney too, we need attorneys. A lot of our distribution model is now becoming digital. We need engineers that could actually build the platforms that are being accessed by, up to millions of people throughout the week. So, the sort of the technology that goes to actually, creating a Netflix or a Peacock, whatever it is, we have people that build all of that behind the scenes. So that wasn't something that existed necessarily for the entertainment industry when most of our distribution was through broadcast or through cable or DVDs and motion picture theatrical exhibition. So there's just I think even in the last 10 years, a whole crop of careers that's relatively new. And I would say marketing too, social media marketing didn't exist probably 10 years ago. That's something that I think is, for younger people in particular who are very tech savvy. There's lots of every production needs a marketing team, and there's traditional routes of marketing and there's non-traditional routes. So there's just in a way maybe that the NICS codes don't really tell, just so many more jobs there that could be met that don't necessarily require a 4-year degree. So I feel like if we can do a good job of just maybe educating you all on what those, I think the production accountant just comes to mind because I literally talked to maybe half a dozen people over the last few months that kept saying, and we can't find any accountants. So it's like, surely there's people in LA County that can do the job. It's just a matter of connecting the dots.
Thank you, Kathy. And it looks like Luke just put in exactly what I was going to ask him to put in, which is really speaking to all of the programs that the colleges have that are pushing out accountants. And so one thing we'll want to do as an action step, Mariana, is make sure that we follow up with this information and hand it over to the accounting departments so that they can begin talking to their students about some of these opportunities that are going to be out there. And I know that SAG-AFTRA, they're not on this call, but I know that they've mentioned these same things, as well as the talent agencies. They are working with clients that are making millions of dollars, guys. And so these folks, you need folks that are skilled with numbers to be able to work with them. Who else? Let's see if I just did Kathy. Yvette from NBC. Did you want to add to this here?
Yeah, I wanted to expand a little bit more on what Kathy was mentioning about kind of the digital jobs, and it looked like the study kind of emphasized that as well, that the industry is shifting to digital platforms, whether it's social media platforms or streaming platforms. And I think, thinking about the whole streaming ecosystem and all the jobs that come with that, and even now trending to digital advertising and those sales jobs and marketing jobs, editing software jobs. So I just wanted to emphasize the shift to digital. And
absolutely, thank you so much. Appreciate it. And then Ava from Warner Brothers.
Hi. A big buzzword right now at our company is ESG, so environmental social governance. Any of these schools that have a curriculum that's focused on the entertainment industry, I would highly recommend there be a segment of that really underscores all of the efforts taking place to have sustainable sets. It's a huge focus for us. It's one of the very few times you will see production executives from HBO, Netflix, Apple, Amazon, all in the same room, giving away trade secrets and sharing best practices. It's something that our industry is just very invested in, from C-suite executives to the boardrooms. So the more knowledge that entry level, or really at any level that you have, or experience you have, and familiarity that you have about sustainability, specifically on sets, it's definitely an advantage for us, and something that we look for when we do review resumes for candidates on productions. And we actually hire now production assistants whose roles are specifically within sustainability.
That's awesome information right there. LADC, as the regional SURF convener, our Institute of Applied Economics actually highlighted sustainability, or careers in sustainability, as one of those pieces that we need to target, and then actually uplifted digital media entertainment as one of those spaces or sectors of focus, which a lot of people probably didn't think to when you're talking about a carbon neutral economy and working towards a carbon neutral economy and those quality jobs and opportunities. So thank you for highlighting that, Ava. And then Marco, I wanted to get to you as well. I know you have a hard stop, but please fire away.
Thank you so much. First of all, let me thank all the faculty and deans of the call, because your job is extremely important for the industry. Being the product of a community college, I really appreciate what you guys do. I think all my peers have done a phenomenal job explaining what are some of the needs of the industry. If I could just make a point and emphasize for the deans and the faculty the importance of making sure that the students understand the industry, understand, where we're going and how we're evolving. When people think about Univision, and mostly because I speak with students all the time, they're like, that's the network my grandma used to watch. Well, we're evolving as well. So it's extremely important that the students coming out of the school understand things such as media consolidation, how, that legacy TV station who has been in the market for 60 years is evolving, and it's becoming now and this is coming from our CEO, the world's leading Spanish language content producer and streaming services. We went from being a 3,000 employee company in the US to 13,000 worldwide. So I think that's extremely important. One of the things that they should consider is understanding the media landscape and the jobs available. And second of all, Los Angeles is such a big market. And coming straight from school, the expectations are from the students that are going to land a job, on the #1 market of Spanish broadcast television, and that sometimes is not the case. And I know we'll speak about this, further down in the conversation as to how do we create a pipeline to make sure that local kids, local students get an opportunity to work locally, and I see the importance of that. So I'll just wait for that question to come around.
Absolutely, and I'm going to actually go back the way that we just left off at. So I'll start with you, Marco, on this question, and this is really talking about, technology and AI and equipment. We know that's big in digital media entertainment. And I know a few of you are probably going to have a lot to say about this, but in general, how has new technology, including automation, AI, how has that transformed the industry? And how can the community colleges really support that transition?
So adapting to new technologies and its application to consumer needs in a fast evolving landscape is extremely important. Think about the necessary investments that we have to do at our schools to start producing content with the virtual and augmented reality tools. We're getting to a point where many news outlets are already experimenting with virtual anchors. I have some concerns about that, but that's for another forum. So what I would encourage, people on the call is to experiment, to understand the way consumer treats and manage content. It's key. We speak about the metaverse and the non-fungible tokens as something in today's future. The question that we should be asking ourselves is, how can technology enhance the user experience? And that's something we got to keep our eye on. And there's plenty of examples, and I'm sure my colleagues will have them.
Thank you so much, Marco. Ava, did you want to add to this question?
So this one's a tough one because I think the only way I would touch on this is on the post-production side. I think as long as, again, going back to the curriculum, there's a focus on the different areas of post-production, and I can't really speak to all of the technology that goes into those different facets. That's definitely a new piece that we've started incorporating into our Access program. But if that is a part of the curriculum, just definitely emphasizing what those programs are and an entry level kind of into how they're used and how to operate them in the event that there are opportunities where they can apply for.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Yvette?
I think it's important to remember that we're constantly exploring different technology to support our needs and experiences in this industry, and so it's important to be flexible and keep up with the pace of advancements. We saw this when COVID happened. We shifted so much of how we did things to meet the need and the demand, and whether it's AI or other technology, it's just important to constantly keep up the pace and make sure the workforce is prepared to be flexible and take on those new skills.
Absolutely. Thank you, Yvette. Kathy?
I would just say that a lot of this technology is so brand new that I think there's still a lot of discussions and explorations to think what Marco said about enhancing consumer experience. But I would just kind of point to what we've seen in terms of the trends on visual effects and post-productions. A lot of that work isn't being done in California or Los Angeles anymore. We've seen even foreign jurisdictions really make an effort to establish visual effects, post-production and animation hubs in different locations just globally. And I've seen a lot of our post-production houses shut down and left the States. There isn't a ton of animation houses. I want to say maybe Pixar and DreamWorks might be the only two left in Los Angeles that do all of the actual work in-house. And when you consider how much growth there's been in that animation space and how much visual effects is now being incorporated into movies and TV shows, I mean, that is an area where I feel like the state just not kept pace. I mean, the jobs have gravitated towards other jurisdictions. And that's a mixture of just tax incentives and cost of doing business. So I just want to be mindful too that as we're looking at preparing students to harness these new technologies, you also want to make sure that that work's going to be done here, or that there's partnership and dialogue going on with local government and state government to make sure that you're matching what you're training people for to the jobs that are actually going to be here.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Kathy. Great information. Lemaire.
Yeah, my thought is, I think that if there's a way for the instructors to add a module or a special project or a capstone project where the students get to experiment with some of the latest technologies as you would design a project around a particular topic that's really current or historical, but they get to play with the technologies and they get to remove the fear and the anxieties about what some of these new technologies may or may not be. I think that's the biggest thing, because having them have portfolio projects to show us when they're at the door is huge. So that's my take, is if there's a way to, have the courses accommodate a special project or two around some of the upcoming and emerging platforms, that would be tremendously helpful for a lot of them on their pathway.
Makes sense. Thank you. Sasheen.
To piggyback on what Lemaire said, I think it's really important for students to get a chance to play with these technologies. If you look at virtual production or look at like Unreal Engine and Epic Games, all of that stuff is going to be useful to them in some way. And I think if you encourage your students to first think about audience, and be audience centered, then develop the skills that are going to help bring that vision or that project to your audience, whether it's in a better way, a faster way, a more interesting way, a more engaging way. I think that's going to be very helpful in incorporating all these technologies.
Thank you so much. And Nancy, did you want to add anything here?
I mean, what I feel like I can add here really is that I always go back to internships and what we offer for students in terms of, professional training and job development, is that we do in the summertime have a special visual effects internship. We also have animation opportunities. And I find that we are getting more of our hosting companies that do have a hand in some of the gaming stuff. Actually, this summer, for the first time, I'm placing our casting intern with the casting director that casts specifically for video games and animation, which is pretty cool. Never done that before. So definitely seeing that expansion. Special visual effects, we all know that there's so much going on with animation and motion graphics and all of that. So students that are coming out of those programs definitely have opportunities for internships and to get their foot in the door.
Thank you so much, Nancy. This is all really great information. I'm trying to take copious notes here to kind of keep up. Real quick, I mean, from our faculty and dean, I haven't seen too many questions in the chat. I want to get some interaction from you all in terms of, I think Lemaire's point and then others that brought up, this capstone piece is kind of a good one. Are any of your students, doing capstones at the end of the programs? I mean, how are you all kind of tapping into? We kind of ran into the same type of issue with bioscience, where folks don't necessarily have actual lab experience. They only have the book knowledge and things of that nature. So in that same vein, like some of our students, I mean, our faculty or dean that are on the call, are you guys doing anything like that? Anyone?
This is Walter Cox from El Camino College. I'm Associate Dean of Fine Arts. And we do have capstones associated with our kind of digital certificates. We've recently hired 2 new full-time digital faculty, so we're really revamping our program. But one of the things that's been a challenge for us is because our programs are relatively small, the onus for finding internships and stuff has kind of really been on the student and the faculty member running them. So we do have capstone courses for independent study and career work experience associated with our certificates, but they're frequently very difficult to get really kind of quality internships with that. And I think a lot of that just comes down to connection with different employers in the industry. And a lot of that, unfortunately, kind of falls on faculty because, each of our areas is so very specific that it's been something of a challenge to develop that over the long term. But we're hoping to really change that.
Absolutely. Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, internships are huge. So work-based learning opportunities. I know that we'll be working with many of the partners on the call today to make sure that we get the internship opportunities aligned with this sector out to the community colleges. Outside of I know Nancy has spoken volumes about the programs that Television Academy has. So some of the others on the call, I'll start since Nancy already spoke about hers, Sasheen and then Lemaire. Could you talk a little bit about internships and opportunities or how you see that space? Because it sounds like, to the dean there from El Camino that, that's a big component, that's a big challenge, right? And so folks sounds like to me, what I'm hearing is they're getting out of programs, but they're not necessarily getting that field experience that they need to really go to the next level.
Yes, I would ask all of the community college representatives to please incorporate, if you haven't already, some type of networking training, because the way I hire is I'm in a group, whether it's a private Facebook group or I'm part of an organization, and I will meet people virtually or in real life, and they will say, hey, this is what I do, and what do you do? And we'll be talking. So if your interns aren't comfortable networking with folks, it's going to be very, very challenging for them to get positions because if you get 300 resumes, who do you choose? You choose the person that you met. You choose the person that has some amazing qualifications. They may not be the one you really need, but they have amazing qualifications. So you need to have these opportunities for producers and execs and hiring folks to connect with your constituents and train them so that those connections are valuable to both themselves and to us.
Absolutely. So soon. I'm hearing soft skills training as one thing to uplift outside of just the hard skills, which we know actually other sectors have mentioned the exact same thing in a different vein. Lemaire, I want to go to you, and then I have a question in the chat that I wanted to highlight as well after Lemaire.
Yeah, I would just amplify and get fully aligned with what Sasheen was just saying there. I can just track back to my early days of becoming an intern out of USC architecture, and I had to very quickly discover what was missing was those soft skills of kind of getting to know the firm and understanding what they were about and what they needed more so than what I needed. And once I figured that out, I got in. But I think there's some structural things that can be set up during the semester to talk about it very specifically in the course towards the end, usually around, okay, if you want to explore this, here are some key principles. And I think it's a very interesting opportunity for the teachers to bring people in to actually speak to the class, and particularly the ones where they'll get a chance to see some work going on. And a lot of industry professionals, myself included, are very open to the idea of kind of showing up and getting the chance to see what's happening in these classrooms and helping students from those contexts once they've gotten to meet them and see them in their in their environment. So just the thought there that I think if you're missing kind of the industry connections, maybe it's just a matter of kind of identifying some particular professionals and LinkedIn, connecting with them and talking with them very open-minded in terms of coming in and speaking with your students.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I'm going to take this question from Alex in the chat. Then I'm going to go to JB and then Kathy after that because they have their hands up. So from Alex Gardos in our chat, we have a question, which is the workplace moving more to remote than in person? And if so, what are the skill sets students need to be successful in this changing modality? Good question. So I'll open that up. Any of our panelists, feel free to come off mute and speak to that question.
I also have a hard out in about 6 minutes. So if you don't mind, I'll take this. I'll start
Please.
this one. Yeah, definitely. So Alex, yeah, some of the jobs are actually being remote, but when we're looking at the actual production, that means a lot of collaboration, right? If you're talking about, whether it's an actor, a writer, a producer, a reporter, they need to be in the same place. They need to be on location. They need to be working together. But for those who work remote, one of the things that we have seen is that, and there's opposing points of view to this, right? In regards to, efficiencies and actually those avoiding the daily commute of 1.5 hours in LA really make me more productive when I stay home. While I'm actually throwing a load of laundry and maybe, setting up the appointment for the kids so it's really hard for somebody, and you need to be very disciplined to make sure that, you actually at home, you go into your office or your room or the kitchen and you work from 9 to 5. So, well, some of those jobs will continue to be remote. What I will emphasize, and it's really important for new graduates and students, it's being disciplined, and communication is extremely important. The fact that you are not seen at the office does not mean that you are not needed and that your contributions, are not important. And I found, because I worked remotely for almost a year, running the newscast, which is almost impossible, I found to be more involved in meetings that I didn't need to be on because I didn't have the one-on-one with people. So, well, it is a possibility. I think that we'll slowly but surely will go back to in-person in most of the industries.
Absolutely. Did others want to add to? Thank you so much again, Marco. Did others want to add to that one?
I do, just to piggyback on
Please.
what Marco's saying. I'm in the process right now of placing all of our summer interns. They're in the selection phase, and I still have the majority of our placements as hybrid. So a lot of the industry that I'm working with, specifically in, some of the development, some of the more creative categories, definitely have the capacity to still be partly remote. It's great seeing some students going back to having more in-person opportunities, shadowing in production and so on. Obviously, there's an impending writer strike, so we don't know how that's going to affect our summer opportunities in certain production categories. But what I tell students and what I saw during 2020, 2021, and even into 2022 is a lot what Marco is saying in terms of make sure you show up professionally. I have found in some cases, I know, yes, I personally have a very long commute. I have over an hour commute to and from work. So when I lose that hour, because 2 days a week I work from home, I find myself more productive. And I agree with you, Marco, there's so many more meetings that I'm in that I feel like I don't necessarily need to be in. But as long as I feel that students are showing up in a professional manner, making sure to continue to nurture the relationships that they're creating, that's super important. And also, if there are students that are in opportunities where the hours are, East Coast hours or however that might work, showing up and being present at the working hour time of the company that you're with. So I'm seeing, here at the Television Academy Foundation and the Academy, we seemingly are going on to be hybrid. Again, we're a membership organization, but I think it's our new reality. I mean, that's really what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing is our new reality in the entertainment industry, in this part of our industry that I work in, is going to continue to be hybrid for some time.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And that's good to know because we know that a lot of actors in general right now, most of them are doing self-taping to send their information in. So that's good to hear that also when you're talking about the back office or behind the scenes folks, there's remote opportunities that are in abundance as well. still. And so let me go to real quick to JB, and then I'll go to Kathy.
Yes, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you. Great thanks to all the employers who are engaging in this conversation. My question is meanwhile, as the colleges are preparing the students and maybe, all the curriculum is not where it needs to be to meet your demands, what are you doing in respect to training your current employees? Or are you open to having cohorts of your employees come to community colleges where a specific training can be created for them to target a specific skill or upskill your current employees? Thank you. And this is open to anybody who'd like to answer.
Anybody want to take a
I'm
nail?
happy
Go
to jump
for it.
in.
Please.
So I think first and foremost, a lot of, and I can only speak to my company, but a lot of trainings now have moved to virtual trainings just to cast a wider net and open the opportunity to more people. But the answer is yes. We certainly have trainings that we offer for all different areas of entertainment through my team, but other teams at Warner Brothers Discovery on the D&I side that I'd be happy to send links for after this conversation. But in the production space, director space, writer space, producer space, you name it, they are available, and we would love to send that information to you.
Absolutely. Thank
Thank you. That would be greatly appreciated. Send it to
Yes.
Mariana, who can send it to all of us. So we don't have to.
Good stuff. Thank you. So Kathy, I know you had your hand up earlier.
Sorry about that. I don't want it to make it seem like I'm being non-responsive to the last question, but I didn't want to miss an opportunity to really underscore the importance of in-person interaction and mentorship, and how I feel like I'm personally very concerned about what the pandemic did to reduce that kind of in-person interaction. And while I think it did open up, the remote work has opened up a lot of opportunities for folks that can do the work from home. There's most of our physical production is very labor intensive, and it's done on sets. And, we haven't been able to really bring people on sets or, bring students or anyone at all. Like the COVID protocols were necessary, obviously, to keep people safe, but I think there was a loss there. And unless there's nothing quite like talking to someone that works in the industry and seeing what's going on in person, just even taking a tour of a studio or a TV station or wherever it is that you're trying to recruit students to. I think those opportunities were lost in mass, and we haven't even gotten back to, I think, a normal cadence of those kind of in-person mentorship opportunities. And so I feel like a lot of these questions that we're posing could be answered if we did have some more structure around how we're connecting people in the industry to students and young people who have no connections to those industries, and can help just advise them, like something as simple as, hey, did you know there's a portal that you can go in? Every studio has all their jobs listed on a portal, like go look for them. You can apply to be an accountant, you can apply to be like a social media, marketing specialist, or you can apply to internships. NBC Universal has a PAGE program that they've had for a long time that I think was temporarily closed during the pandemic because no one could come on the lots. So as those things are being rebooted, I think it's just like, how do we become, how do we help? And as part of the association here, I'd like to figure out how we can be a convener to make sure that we're providing that kind of information to the colleges that then gets pushed down to the students. And I think I would even encourage, I know Film LA has hosted webinars on this too. So there's a lot of good work being done. And it's just being done a little bit of silos, and it's just, I think we can all benefit by trying to figure out how do we create scale and just create, like, again, a more direct route of connections to people who are willing to be mentors to students that really need it.
Absolutely. That's great, Kathy. Thank you so much. I know Mariana will be following up with all our panelists, but in particular, Nancy and Kathy, based upon some of the offers that you just put out there today, so that we can then work with the colleges to get that information out. Mia and then Yvette.
Yes, I actually want to do a plug and a question. No, I'm just kidding. The link that I posted earlier for Creative Careers Online, that's actually the first stage. The next phase is going to include a program finder specific to creative career pathway opportunities. And one of the things that we're looking to have really be a robust feature of the site is to be able to house community college, digital media, and arts programs, right? So I'm just wanting folks to be aware that, you know, as I think it was Nancy, someone mentioned just a minute ago, Kathy just mentioned about a portal and having the opportunity to have everything in one place. So we're going to institute a feature called a program finder. And so I'm just wondering, for those of you who are on the call, would this be beneficial to have more of a community-based outreach approach to recruiting young people into your programs? And so for the educators, is this useful for you? But then also for the industry folks, would this be instrumental in helping to guide folks into work-based learning programs that maybe you have as well, which could also be a feature. So it's kind of like that field question, if you will, about how we can ensure that you all are all reflected in terms of what your recruitment strategies are at any given time, what programs you're looking to fill. And this is really geared towards underrepresented young people from backgrounds who are not traditionally reached out to.
That was a great piece. Thank you so much. Mia, Yvette, let me take your question as well.
Mia, thank you for that transition, because I was literally about to say, you know, as a company, we are committed to D&I at every level, corporate, production, and I guess my plug is to ask for your help in the pipeline of this. And so whether it's on the corporate side through our internship programs, or on the production side, we have a newly launched, we call the Below the Line Traineeship Program, which is, it creates pathways for entry-level job opportunities for underrepresented crew members across TV and film production. And we really like to work with our local partners to identify the qualified candidates who would be a good, you know, good fit for these careers. And it really is a true mentorship program, a pipeline opportunity. And I guess, again, my plug is to ask for your help, and I'm happy to share the information to make sure that we are creating these opportunities for you know, underrepresented members of our community.
Absolutely, great stuff. And so creativecareers.gladio.org, I put that in the chat. That site is linked to Los Angeles Gladio, which many of the folks on this call know about. And the whole purpose of that is obviously to uplift our opportunities, our in-demand, our high-growth sectors as well, but then feature our employer partners also, so that we can make sure that individuals, when they access that page, they have access to really a whole plethora of different opportunities, really based upon their skill set and where they are in their career, and what the educational pathway looks like as well. So thank you all for that. I'm going to transition it over. We don't have too much time left. We're at 12:22. We got about 10 minutes or so left of moderation, and then just want to open it up for some more questions if we have any, and maybe there's some that develop along the way. Jose, please go ahead.
Yeah, no, thank you, Jermaine, and thank you everyone for attending. As Jermaine mentioned earlier, my name is Jose Pelayo. I am the Program Manager of Workforce Development with LAEDC. And I just wanted to touch base on some of the data that Diego and Lou presented earlier, and informing there's 16 community colleges that have programs within DME. And with that being said, I'd like to touch base on two topics that I feel are very important, not only for our current workforce, but for the future, which is workforce gaps and talent pipelines. With that being said, the community colleges have 16 community colleges offers programs within DME. We'd just like to get your feedback on the current curriculum that's offered, and anything that you would like to see that be implemented. So I'd actually go with Ava first, and then go down with Yvette and continue. So Ava?
I'm sorry, I missed the question.
No worries, Ava. So my question is, 16 of the community colleges currently offer DME programs. Any feedback in the curriculum that's being offered or anything that you'd like to see the colleges implementing for the future?
Got it. I think I guess it just depends how specific the curriculums get, for specific skills to be honed in on. I know one of the challenges that we're seeing with our programs at the entry level for PAs are just a basic knowledge of the skills that they need to advance to the next level if they do want to eventually join a union. So if you are a camera PA and you are hoping to become a camera intern to then ultimately join Local 600, there's just a lot of sharp skills that you need to develop. And oftentimes you're expected to have those when you come onto the set. And unfortunately, that's not always the case. So there are manuals that can be read and learned and taught to help students to better understand all that goes into being a camera intern. So that's just one specific craft. But if the curriculum has those focus areas, I would just recommend making sure that there are those resources available.
Thank you, Ava. And again, I urge the faculty and deans, if they have anything to add or any questions, feel free to raise your hand and go ahead and speak. But thank you, Ava. Would like to pass on to Yvette. Yvette, again, anything that you feel you want to provide any feedback on the current curriculum that was provided in the lookbook or anything that you would like to see the colleges implementing?
No, I would just like to just emphasize that working with some of the local partners that we work with to that where we recruit or crew from, so that that connection is happening, and that when we go to get our base, it's crew that's already has an idea of what they want to do. They know what the options are. They have some experience, so when they come on board, they're ready to go. I think that and Ava was kind of hinting at that, was like basically like making sure not just the soft skills, but they also kind of have an idea of where their specialty is going to be or what their focus is going to be, and to so it's easier transition that way, and that they're ready to start.
Thank you, Vic. Great feedback. Lamer, anything you want to add?
Yeah, I'm going to harp on the portfolio thing. I think if there's any way to have a specific class towards the end of their time at the schools, is that they have a very orchestrated way to work on their portfolio, their websites, their reels, all the things where they're going to be able to show their value very clearly and very succinctly to any employer for internships and for the full-time gig. The more that they can have that, the more success they'll have. And I would also say anything that can be done within that class, perhaps, or elsewhere around public speaking and writing, just making sure that communication skills are at the top of their capability sets as well.
And real quick, let me hop in real quick. This is a suggestion, and I've heard this from multiple industry professionals directly. Whether it's their social media, whether it's their LinkedIn, whether it's a PDF copy of their resume. Every single student, whether you are in college, whether you are graduating high school, whether you are graduating university, should have, especially going into this space, a Linktree. Linktree is a very inexpensive way to essentially have a whole Rolodex of everything that you do. So whether it's to Lamer's point and they're showcasing their reel that they've chopped up and edited and put together, whether you're in graphic design space and you want to show how you've created animation and things of that nature, whatever it is, a simple Linktree, and making sure that's accessible, because these folks that are hiring for these positions, they don't have a whole lot of time, and they have a whole lot of volume, and they have a whole lot of people and a whole lot of major projects that they are in control of. And so having that simple link, I'm telling you right now, it can go miles in terms of value. And this is coming from Lamer, who's a very highly regarded individual in this space. And so this is a big deal. And so just wanted to kind of uplift that and put that out there.
Thank you, Jermaine.
Can I jump in as well? Sorry.
Yeah, of course.
I was going to just underscore maybe a class on like, again, networking and just that the soft skills, I can't like, I just, just coming from the San Gabriel Valley myself, I graduated from Mountain View High School. I had so many friends that actually went to Rio Hondo after graduation. And there's lots of great curriculum and classes, but it's like, what happens after you take that class? Where I saw the disconnect, where just like, I had plenty of friends who had passions and wanted to do certain things. And if you don't have a clear roadmap on what you're doing once that class is complete, then you're likely to just fall into whatever's going to get the bills paid. Whether that's working in McDonald's or that's all like good, honest work. But if you don't have that connector, and part of that is now networking, and there was no LinkedIn when I was going to college or applying for jobs, but that is such a powerful tool that maybe that importance of that gets lost. And I have to be honest too, when you're raised in culturally, for me anyway, I wasn't taught to market myself. That was actually something that was discouraged. You're not supposed to draw attention to yourself. It's actually bragging, and it's like, frowned upon, especially for women of color. So it just teaching kids like you need to do that. You absolutely have to be able to brag about yourself and market yourself and speak with confidence in order to be taken seriously and have doors open for you. And I think it's going back to like the importance of having a mentor, but just, having someone tell them like, you need to do that. It's like, that is like as important as having those hard skills. You not only need to know like how it is to code or program or how to do special effects or, build a set or makeup, but you need to be able to, get to a workplace with confidence, and you need to be able to speak about what you can do and not be embarrassed about it. And I don't need, like, that to me is just a huge barrier that we don't talk about often enough. Like it's the soft skills, yes, like shaking hands, eye contact, but just again, culturally, just getting over those barriers, like this is what you need to do in order to be able to be taken seriously.
And I'm sorry, if I could just jump in and piggyback off of Kathy's comment. I also think that a lot of times when we're having info sessions or teaching college level people just about opportunities in this industry, there seems to be more of an emphasis on senior or executive level representation. And I think that for like a more micro understanding of what it takes to be in this industry, there needs to be more of a push to have entry level representatives in the room to talk about both those soft skills, just more of the networking aspects of the job, but also just those early entry sharp skills that are needed. And I think it's just easier for them to really conceptualize what it looks like to get into the industry when they're hearing from someone that really is at that level that they're looking to dive into. So I would just recommend opportunities where they can connect with people who are entry level, in addition to senior level, but I think that there's an importance there for entry level.
And if I could piggyback on that, if there's any way to bring back recent alumni into the classroom with your current students, is colossal. It's huge. So highly recommend that, and having them speak about the experience and just give their perspective on how things are really working for them to help these kids prepare for their next step.
I would also like to say that if folks can figure out how to really bring back and really focus on critical thinking skills, analytical skills, understanding logistics, understanding order of things, because that's going to be tremendously helpful, beyond just the, knowing how to type, knowing how to answer a phone, how to be polite, all those fun things that we should all know. And understanding that it's really important not to fake it until you make it. Don't fake it. Don't lie on your resume. Don't say you've done something. Be honest, be open, ask for help, because I've read a number of resumes, called a person for an interview and realized, yeah, that person doesn't have the skill set yet. And it's very disappointing, and I can't hire them because I'm trying to get my production done. Not to say I couldn't train them, but I can't start with someone who's lying to me. So I think that's really important.
No, these are great points that the employer partners presented, to the faculty and deans. I know, I think Alex just dropped out a comment on the chat, and I think it's going to go a long way to help build that curriculum. So want to jump in and segue to the next question involving talent pipeline. How are you currently working with the community colleges to build equitable talent pipelines? I actually want to go to Sachin first and then going down the line as well.
I'm sorry, I was reading the chat. Joe, can you ask the question again?
No worries. So how are you currently working with the community colleges to build equitable talent pipelines within the DME?
I'm not currently working with community colleges. So I would love to meet and talk and discuss how we can work together. My company, Plenty of Pie, I just launched it last year, and I have a talent incubator that focuses on emerging and mid-career creatives. And we are training folks to become producers. So all of those soft skills and leadership skills, as well as the practical understanding how to budget, how to schedule, how to negotiate contracts, how to understand how to pitch, and how are you pitching the same idea to different people, because those are different pitches. So I would love to talk to everybody that's on the call to help connect and collaborate.
Thank you, Sachin. We'll definitely make the connection to the 19 community colleges to see how you can be a collaboration there. I would pass on to Lemur to see any feedback from Lemur.
Yeah, this past year has been an odd one in the Web3 crypto space, so we hadn't had a whole lot of additional positions, but we are looking forward to a summer where we can hopefully reach out for some help in the social media space. And we have some connections with the Santa Monica City College. Their interaction design program is awesome. They have really great things happening there, as well as in the Promo Pathway group around the video content production world. So those are two areas that we're looking to tap into. And then I think also Pasadena City College, there's some folks where on the graphic design side of things starting to evaluate how and when we can plug in there. But we would love to kind of figure out over the long term how we stay involved and become more involved in things here locally.
Thank you, Lemur, for the current work that you're doing and for your interest in participating more with the 19 community colleges. Kathy, anything you want to add on your end?
So I would say I just, echo Sachin. I don't think I'm not actively doing much at all right now in my current capacity. My official function is government affairs, but I think, just as personally, I have a great interest in doing more to serve as a connector. Someone asked me in the chat earlier, like, how do you access job postings for these production accounting jobs? So every studio does have a career portal that has all of our job listings, including those production accounting jobs listed there. So I would just encourage anyone who wants to work at a studio. I mean, it gives you a good sense of the variety of jobs that are also available at the studios. I'd love, to compile that and get that to the appropriate folks to farm out to everyone at the community colleges, as well as information on things like the PAGE program that I mentioned. We have lots of great programs that our individual studios sponsor. It's all, again, a little bit siloed because they do it under their own corporate social responsibilities and career development departments. So I'd like to do more as an association to get all of that information packaged to be able to give to any, frankly, interested partners. So I appreciate being invited to participate in this discussion to figure out how we best get that started.
Thank you so much, Kathy. We'll make sure to connect. Mariana's definitely going to follow up to gather more information and see how we can spread that out to the community colleges. We'd like to segue to Yvette. I know she probably stepped out, but if she's still here, if not, we can go to Ava.
So in the past, our Access program has partnered with Long Beach Community College, LA Tech Community College, Pierce College, and Santa Monica College, and we are open to many others. I think for us, this process, and specifically for our action program, which is for production assistance and below the line production opportunities, we host a training once a summer. This is a virtual training. It's open to both people in California and New York, which are two locations where we primarily film. And we connect with our nonprofit partners, our college partners, and they recommend to us students or people who belong to their organizations that they think would be great candidates for this program. They attend the sessions, and from there we select which candidates we think would be best to invite to basically have their resume on file, so that we can reach out to them once opportunities do open on our production set. So those happen pretty regularly. Again, this is all pending the upcoming strike. So this could look quite different this summer and fall. But I'd like to open that up to everyone on this call. If there are folks from each of these community colleges who have direct connections to their students and, want to recommend a handful to us, for our training program this summer, we can begin that process. So I'd love to share my contact information with you guys, connect with that representative from that community college, and then we could go from there.
Thank you so much, Ava, and thank you, employer partners, for the willingness and interest to engage with the 19 community colleges. It's so crucial for our students. So we'll definitely be in contact. Before I segue to Jermaine, there's actually an additional question from one of our registrants. So if this question is for the individual that it's still here and you'd like to unmute, feel free to add any feedback. But the question is, what are the key qualifications for entry-level and internship level applicants in the areas of 3D modeling and animation? So I can open that to any employer partner who may be applicable. And again, if the individual who registered presented that question would like to unmute and provide more feedback, you're more than welcome to.
I'll offer a couple of insights, even though 3D is one of the zones that we work with. But if someone has a vision around, let's say, motion graphics, there are some key software packages, right? We know that's kind of like table stakes of things that we really want to see them have at least some exposure to, if not some beginning mastery level of being able to show core modeling skills, for instance, of geometries and showing the actual process states of those, maybe in a portfolio that's got kind of the kind of sequence of evolution of how they got to the final product, as well as the animation of that, right? Being able to show, okay, well, here's what I was trying to say when I had the revolution cycle around the motorcycle and the lighting and so forth. So again, it goes back to, yes, the portfolio thing, but also your process being revealed. I think that's really huge for a lot of employers wanting to see, how do you work and what are the software packages that you can translate from day one right into, and where do we need to help you kind of grow into our methodologies at the studio that we have, because it's going to be a huge learning arc for someone to go through once they actually join as an intern or as a first year employee around the specifics of that studio. And lastly, I would say the hygiene and the kind of way that files are maintained and put together and all those things that happen is a gigantic thing for someone to be able to just show a capability of awareness around, you're going to be working with other people, so they're going to need to get access to your files. And so being able to show someone that you have awareness around that is also huge.
Thank you, Lamer. Thank you for that input. Again, if that individual who presented that question would like to unmute, if not, we can definitely follow up. But I'd like to segue out to Jermaine Hampton, our Senior Director.
I think it was Arnold. Were you the one with the question?
Yeah, I was the one who asked that question. So I just wanted to thank Lamer for his feedback, and also shout out to a fellow former art center. I think I saw you on LinkedIn. So good to see you.
Awesome. Arnold, what college are you with?
I'm at El Camino College. I'm brand new. I'm one of the 2 new digital arts faculty, and 3D is kind of my area of specialty. So
I did put in the chat some information on DreamWorks early career programs. They've focused obviously on animation, and I just wanted to again make sure those are options available and encourage folks to take a look at that and share it with your students. Sorry about that.
No worries. Thank you so much. So my final question, and I have to kind of ask it, and then we'll just take a couple questions if anyone has any remaining that they haven't already asked. Entrepreneurship. We got to talk about it a little bit, and the main reason why is because the reality is, when you're talking about DME, you're talking about gig economy, you're talking about folks that are going to inevitably jump from project to project. While there are some kind of more stable positions, right, and kind of traditional positions, the reality is there's a lot of freelancers and a lot of folks bouncing around from project to project, just like the actors do. So that being said, you know, from our industry professionals here, which I know many of you are entrepreneurs or may have started off as entrepreneurs, how do the community colleges teach an entrepreneur that is in this space? Like literally, like what do they do? Some of them may have the answer, maybe some of them can come off mute and talk about it, but I'd love to know, what do they do? What are your recommendations when you're dealing with an entrepreneur, or the reality that they may have to be an entrepreneur to be successful? Any of you can come off mute and go for it.
Well, I think a huge help in sparking that at the community colleges will be what Kathy and Sasheen have been talking about, which is this social networking capability and prowess around being able to have connections and to make new connections and to support others while they're supporting you, and that whole kind of ecosystem of local kind of business endeavors while you're also socializing, you're doing business actually. And so the more that can be structurally installed as software that people just run, and they know how to actually kind of have a reciprocity model in their mind around how business works, the more successful as an entrepreneur they're going to be, because opportunities show up and manifest through your relationships. The other thing I would say is, of course, choosing kind of your top 3 superpower skill sets that you really want to be known for, and marketing yourself as such, right? Putting out that content and having things kind of really be known by key players within your network. There's always going to be an opportunity for them to bring you along, as well as you to bring them along as you get opportunities that emerge. And I would say the last thing is, you know, people just having some faith in destiny and a few of the other kind of things that frankly are kind of things that we don't control. We just help contribute to how things manifest after some things happen. But people kind of being comfortable with uncomfortable moments, right? That, hey, this is not quite clear. I don't know how to use this software yet, but let me buckle down and spend 2 days on it and figure it out. Or, hey, I don't know if that thing with 3D modeling is really going to be something I'm going to continue to do, but if I can add that to my skill set, I'm going to have that as an opportunity set as well. So just having people have that confidence in themselves over time, and their ability to kind of embrace ambiguity is a key component of entrepreneurship, I would say.
Thank you. Sasheen?
I'd like to jump in and say yes to all the things that Lemaire said. I think as a producer, you are inevitably an entrepreneur. Every production, whether it's with a studio or whether it's independent, has its own little LLC. It is its own entity, its own business. And so that whether you're independently financing and finding the funds and doing all the things, that makes you a small business person. And you have to have all of the skills or know all of the people that have those skills to make that project successful. So I think it's really incumbent upon community college and four-year college. And if people don't even go to college, that's okay. I think the point is to understand that there is absolutely, like Lemaire said, reciprocity and that business ecosystem, but you also need to understand that you have, there's finite funds, there's finite time, there is a delivery date, hopefully. So you have to make sure you do the thing and make sure that you are able to do the thing, have the people that have the skills to do the thing. Entrepreneurship, production, and small business, you cannot do it by yourself. This is not a solo entrepreneur world. It's not. You really do need more than just one person to make the thing. Even if you are the writer, the director, the editor, and all that, you need somebody else to look at it, because what you envision and what you're putting together may not be what others see. So it's really important to build your network, build your cohort, and understand your audience for whatever product you're making. Understand your audience.
Thank you so much. Kathy or Ava, did you want to add here?
I'll make a plug for just keeping on the small business theme is, so much of the industry is the vendors that we use. And that's, everything from graphic design shops that print signage for studios and productions, to the caterers, the flower shops. That's in some many ways a creative job too, but it's a small business job that's not maybe traditionally an entertainment job that's captured in these NAICS codes. But there's so much opportunity there. So just maybe some kind of, again, coursework on how do you qualify for a loan if you want to start your own business, and just financial literacy, the importance of a good credit score, and just building that as a student. I wish someone would have told me that before I got my first credit card. So just, I think maybe that's I'd say maybe untapped, it's just that there's so much opportunity within this industry that's not direct jobs. It's that ecosystem of just small businesses that provide a production cluster. So we don't want to miss out on just maybe educating people who might have that sense of, they want to be their own business owner, that there is lots of opportunities here servicing the industry.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kathy. Ava, did you want to add anything there before we take some questions?
Yeah, I think everyone covered it. I think really it's that equity, but not just understanding financial equity, it's brand equity. So how are we teaching that to students? I think in any career, whether you're an entrepreneur or not, we're constantly networking and building our reputation. So however that can be taught and ingrained in any lesson plan, I think is really crucial. But I think a constant conversation though is really how are we educating and further educating people on financial awareness and create, having good credit and investing. So I think Kathy really nailed that. I think that just on every level of academic, that just needs to be something that is just taught and really ingrained in our curriculum.
Absolutely. Thank you all so much. I know we did we're coming down to time here. We only got 9 minutes left. I know last year we did a program advisory really around graphic design, and we had some major companies at that online event as well. And they all mimic the same things. The reality is in this space, a lot of folks end up becoming entrepreneurs, and what they see typically is a lack in soft skills. They see a lack of ability to network and represent themselves, or looking at themselves as a brand. Like, you're literally the brand at this point. Your name is a brand. Do you have a website? Do you have a link tree? How can people see your materials? I think even one of the CEOs of that company, he actually was from a community college, and stated the only reason why he even got into the industry is because as soon as he got out of college, he had a portfolio that was literally ready to rock and roll. And that's what he was looking for from folks, and even offered his services to actually talk to some of our students at the community colleges to help them develop their portfolios. Because without it, there's literally no way into some of these opportunities a lot of times. And so, yes, financial literacy, very important. I don't know, my faculty and deans that are on the call, are we teaching financial literacy? Are we teaching entrepreneurship related curriculum at any of the colleges? Or does anyone kind of want to speak to it? Maybe you're weaving that into your current programs right now.
Actually, excuse me, at LA City College, in our non-credit adult education department, we have what's called a business incubator, where we prepare students to have the skills of first our managing money course, and then we take them through the cycle of developing a business plan. But it could be definitely, the context can be changed to that of the entertainment industry. but that's what we're doing at City College.
Yeah, so at El Camino College, we have currently have a digital certificate and visual communication certificate, and then also commercial music. And each of those does include classes, or at least the opportunity to take classes in business and public speaking, because our faculty have recognized the importance of those. And so, yeah, that's kind of what we're currently doing.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Do others have questions? I mean, we got 6 minutes. Thank you to all of our panelists. I know a few of them had some hard stops at 12:30, but for the panelists that are remaining, Kathy, Sasheen, Lemaire, and also Ava, do anyone of our faculty or dean, does anyone have any other questions that haven't been asked? Or something that's come up that you're thinking of that you want an answer for? Anything?
I'd like to ask a question if I might. Lemaire, you mentioned the importance of a portfolio, which I love and I think is great. In hiring for some of the entry level, technician positions and whatnot, how much weight would you say you would place on portfolio versus the standard of asking for a bachelor's degree or whatnot? Because our students will be coming hopefully with a strong portfolio, but oftentimes some of the jobs that require a bachelor's degree might get discouraged from. Thank you.
And this is just my perspective on it, but I tend to rotate on the actual work product, and particularly the authorship that someone is revealing in their portfolio. Tell me about how you got there. What went into it? Because there's all those process kind of aspects that are going to be really important for them to gel with the team and or with me and how I'm working. And so the more that we can kind of at least vibe a little bit on what the creative impulse was behind something that they're doing across mediums, right? It doesn't just have to be film. It can be sculpture, whatever they were doing. I want to dig into that and understand that. The degree itself is incredibly, great because it's going to show a roundedness as well as a commitment to completing things. But I'm definitely more on the side of let's see the portfolio, particularly if they're either precocious in doing something really great within a particular medium, or they're kind of finding their way and exploring. I kind of want to have more focus on that.
Absolutely. It's good stuff. All right. Well, if there's no more questions, I'm going to give a few minutes back to everybody. So on behalf of LADC and our team here, I want to thank all of our employer partners so much for taking time today to speak to our partners at the LARC and the community colleges, their representatives, faculty and staff and deans across all of the LA19, of course, the Center of Excellence as well, for their great supply data that they provided. And then obviously our Institute of Applied Economics here at LADC for the demand data. Thank you all so much. We left a bunch of stuff in the chat. Hopefully you guys take it and use it to your benefit. Mariana Hernandez will follow up with some kind of key takeaways from today's discussion and send it out to you. And then also in addition to that, obviously we had a few offers out there. I know from Kathy and also from Nancy, who had to jump off early, about internships and other opportunities, as well as our other folks here. I know that they are very open to opportunities and opportunity sharing as well. Sasheen has a whole incubator that she has over there to develop folks into the space. Lemaire, great guy right here. He can obviously provide a lot. And then obviously our partners from NBC and Ava, they can do so much for the community as well. So thank you so much. We appreciate you, and everyone have a great rest of your afternoon.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.